As they're taking that picture, I also want to mention that we also have 3 additional students that are on full academic scholarships to 4-year universities. So out of a graduating class of 21, we have 10 students that are receiving at least their first two years of education at no cost. Also, TC, if you were at the Senior Awards Banquet, notified us that of a class of 21, we had 18 students that had taken dual credit hours during their time period long. So that's something that we are tremendously proud of, that we have that sort of participation in dual credit hours at a very, very small cost to the families and the kids of the community. And they've done a tremendous job really searching out the things that they want to do with their lives and moving forward with those. It's been a very motivated group, so there should be a great deal of pride as these young people graduate.
Ms. Hawkins, anybody sign up for open forum? Next item is communications.
There's none?
None. Next item is to administer the oath of office to the newly elected board members. We have Marcus Call, place 6, and Steve Wilson, place 7. Y'all look at the moment.
In the name and authority of the state of Texas, I, Marcus Snell Call,
I, Marcus Neal Call,
do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear or affirm
that I will faithfully execute the duties of
that I will faithfully execute the duties of
Maud ISD School Board Trustee Position Number 6
Maud ISD School Board Trustee Position Number 6
of the state of Texas,
of the state of Texas.
and will do my best ability
I will do my best ability
to preserve, protect, and defend
to preserve, protect, and defend
the Constitution and laws of the United States
the Constitution and laws of the United States
and of this state, so help me God.
and of this state, so help me God.
And I guess at this time, you can go and take your seat. Yes, I do. In the authority of the state of Texas, I, Stephen Keith Wilson,
I, Stephen Keith Wilson,
do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear or affirm
that I will faithfully execute the duties
that I will faithfully execute the duties
of the Maud ISD Board Trustee Position Number 7
of the Maud ISD Board Trustee Position Number 7
of the state of Texas,
of the state of Texas,
and do my best of my ability
and do the best of my ability
to preserve, protect, and defend
to preserve, protect, and defend
the Constitution and laws
the Constitution and laws
of the United States of this state,
of the United States of this state,
so help me God.
so help me God.
Congratulations.
Welcome you, board members. Next item will be, after each election, we'll always have reorganizing of the board. At this time, we'll do that. We'll have a organizing of the board president, vice president, secretary, and appoint a recording secretary. And at this point, I will turn it over to Mr. Peterson.
One of the very few times that the superintendent takes the center of the table, that is to nominate a board president. I will take a nomination for board president.
I nominate Melvin Peters.
I'll second.
Do I have any other nominations? Those in favor? Motion carries unanimously. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
At this time, I will turn the meeting over to the board president.
This time we will open the floor for nominations for vice president.
I would like to nominate Mr. Townsend.
I have a nomination for Mr. Townsend. I'll second. I have a motion to second. Any other nominations? If you would, Before we vote for aye, by raising your right hand. All opposed? Unanimous. This time we open the floor for nominations for secretary. Terry Johnson. I'll have a motion for Terry Johnson as secretary. Do I have a second? Second. All right, have a second. Any other nominations? Would vote your nomination by raising your right hand. Opposed, like sign. Passes unanimously. We have a recommendation for recording secretary.
I will recommend Mrs. Hawkins.
Recommendation for Ms. Hawkins. Alana Hawkins, do I have a second? Any other nominations? Opposed nominations, vote, all in favor? Opposed, like sign. Passes unanimously. Consent agenda. We have 3 items this month on consent agenda, which is the minutes of our last regular meeting, April 16th regular meeting of the board, minutes of our May 13th special meeting of the board, and our monthly financial report. Does anyone have any items they want pulled from the consent agenda at this time? Special discussion? If it's okay with the board, we'll do a motion on all 3 of those at once.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, raise your right hand. Mr. Cruz, next. Next item on the agenda is information items. Principal's report.
Oh, okay. You ready?
And one first.
Last one. I thought about that this morning.
You sure do say that with a smile.
Well, for good cause. I do want to thank y'all for all your support. You giving me, I appreciate it. And it's time to go down and get that. For sure. I want to talk about our enrollment. Our enrollment is down. One of the reasons is we've had several of our pre-K parents want to go ahead and pull their kids out a little bit early. Some of them are like withdrawing and going out of town for a week or two. Then they're going to come back and re-enroll for like the last week of school. In April, at our last board meeting, our enrollment was 232 and now it's at 225. I expect a lot of these people who left, will have more coming back at the beginning of the year. We have, last week, our kindergarten took a field trip on Tuesday, May 19th, and during that field trip, Scott Sanders was the bus driver for us. And we had an extraordinary compliment given, and I'd like for him to come out and tell you about that, because he is the one who was present and really knows what happened. Scott, if you'd come up and let him know what was going on. Because this is a first, as far as I know, and I thought it was so awesome.
A gentleman came up and was speaking with us once who had 3 kids with him, and his oldest kid was going to enter kindergarten this next year, was enrolled in one of the Texarkana elementary schools. Had twins that were going to be in pre-K. So he came up and wanted to, had been watching our kids. It was a kindergarten field trip. Had been watching our kids and wanted to know what school we were from. Said he'd been watching how well behaved they were. Been watching the teachers that were dealing with them, talking about how loving and caring they seemed to be with all the kids. Long story short, he wanted to know if we had any problem at all with accepting their kids coming to MOD next year. He said that's where he wanted his kids to attend school, just by the example that he saw from our kids there at Spring Lake Park on that specific day. So
That's good.
I thought that was a pretty neat deal, a pretty good testament to our teachers and what they're doing up there.
Yeah. Anyway, thanks. I think that was just awesome. So we had 3 more coming hopefully next year. And that's it's really, one of the ways we get our kids to come in is exemplify what we're doing here and how it works. And it is a tribute to our teachers, they're excellent elementary staff. On our field trips, we've had, all our classes have had the field trips except pre-K. They're supposed to go next Tuesday to Spring Lake Park, praying that it doesn't rain. If it does, they're going to try to go the next day, and hopefully it won't rain, but I hope they get to go. If not, we'll rearrange and do something different. Next Wednesday, May 27th, we have something new coming that hasn't been done before. It's Christ of St. Michael's. It's a mobile pediatric asthma clinic that's coming. And what it is they have received a grant. And with the grant, of course, the more students they get to come, the better off. They have like a quota that I'm sure they have to reach with this grant. But what we have done is we have sent a permission slip home. And if the parents sign and they say, yes, I want my child assessed, even if they don't have asthma, they can assess them, make sure they don't have asthma. They have to sign the form, and the parent has to come and be present. They will be here the entire day doing that. And Marty said it may end up being so many that we have them, and they will come back the next day. What they will do is they will assist any of the students who do have asthma. They're going to receive some type of help with their medical needs, whether it be, depending on their financial situation. So I think that's an awesome thing we have coming up. Friday, June the 5th, we're going to have our end of the year awards, and we are, I did want to tell you also, on our field trips, all our field trips are solely funded, except for the buses, by our fundraiser where we sell candy each year. So remember to buy candy or come out and knock on the door, because that's what it does go to, every cent that goes to that. Anyway, our awards assembly, last year we decided we would split it up because it was very difficult for our little pre-K and the younger kids to sit through it all. So we have, and we will do pre-K through second at 8:30, and then we will do third through fifth at 9:30. We will have our normal awards that we have, where we give our kindergarten academic excellence certificates, and our A and A honor roll, and also our perfect attendance ribbons. But in addition to that, our special awards at the end of the year that we give, we will give our UIL awards. We have 22 individual students that placed, and we have 7 groups of 3 that will receive a team award, where they receive a medallion. Also, we present our Citizens of the Year that are given to me and nominated by their homeroom teacher. In the past, we have had where the classroom could only have 1. And I've been asked and asked over and over and over, please, it's so hard to just pick one. So this year, I've talked to Mr. Sanders, since he'll be taking over next year, and discussed it. I didn't want to change something, and, he changed it back. And the two of us decided, in our opinion, the more awards we can give to these young children, the better. So we are going to add that, and they receive a trophy, a plaque for that, Also, we'll have our A honor roll for the year, for the entire year. We're doing that a little differently. Previously, we've always cut our grades off 2.5 weeks before the end of the year. That worked great for our primary building, but the 3 through 5 kids pretty much knew that. We're hoping that this will help with some of the behavior issues, which have been very many, but we won't cut off till that Monday of the last week. Therefore, our A honor roll for the year for our plaques will be our first through 6 weeks for those students. And we will also do our A, B honor roll the same, the first through the 6 weeks, and those students receive a medallion. Then we also do our what is called Accelerated Reading Awards. That's AR. You've probably heard of that term, AR. The kids are reading their books. We have a first through third place for 3rd, 4th, and 5th. So that's 9 students, and those students do receive a trophy for that. They're the top readers. They're the kids who have read most books during the year. And then we also have our certificates for any student who's had perfect attendance the entire year. And those students I take, last year I took them to CC's for lunch for the day. to honor him being at school every day, and we'll do that again this year. Do you have any questions? Okay. It's been a great year.
Thank you.
And I'm really proud to hear about that. Parents saying that, that's been my highlight of the year. I really do. Anyway, thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Thompson. Thank you for this.
Sure.
Well, obviously, it's a busy time of the year. We're trying to wind up, and as you can see by the list of events we had for May, we've been rolling pretty hard, and I knew I left something off of there. But our enrollment, we're at 230. We're still keeping track of everybody that leaves. No one is left to go to another school without moving. We're still at that point that every kid that is left the secondary campus, they have moved out of district. And it's been to at least New Boston or to Texarkana. So, and all of those folks we've offered, if they would like to continue as a transfer, we would love to have them. And basically it came down to financial. They couldn't afford the fuel to drive back and forth and get their kids back and forth. So same story we've heard for 2 years. It's just the economy, and they're moving closer to their jobs. Attendance, 96 and a half almost. That's pretty good in a secondary setting. When you get to the end of the year, seniors will have senioritis and they just don't want to come. And I'm pretty proud of the seniors. They're over 96 for the 6 weeks, and that's a good thing, because I don't think I've ever had a group of seniors be that high the last 6 weeks of the year. You can see through the list, we've had quite a bit going. We've had recruiters on campus. We had 10 students go to Wadley they signed up to do the summer volunteer program, so they'll go over there all summer. I think it's 2 days a week. They go over there and they volunteer at the hospital, and they get some volunteer time and they learn some compassion. We had our senior interviews, and we do 2 rounds of those, one in the fall, one in the spring, and that's really getting them ready to go interview for jobs, interview for scholarships. And I think looking at our scholarship numbers, $668,690, or $970, excuse me, I think those interviews pay off. Because when they go to the JACO and the scholarship, you know, that's pretty stiff competition. And Mr. Peavy, how many did y'all interview there?
42, I believe, was the number that we interviewed, or that applied. 25 were interviewed, and 12 were selected.
We got 3. So we got 3 of the 12 scholarships out of all of Bowie County. So I think that's pretty awesome.
We had lots of, hey Dave, we received 3, Redwater received 3, Liberty Ilo received 4, and the rest were made of at-large throughout the county.
So one of the smaller schools in the county, and we received just as much as anybody else. We've had numerous banquets, athletic banquet, FFA banquet, band banquets, our SCCLA banquet, and recognized numerous kids. We've had our high school awards. Yesterday we had our middle school awards. We got to recognize UIL and A honor roll. Wednesday, Miss Harrell loaded all the seniors up, and they went over to Mount Pleasant. Workforce Solutions was having a job there. We thought that'd be good, so they got to go around and talk to job recruiters, get to hear what kind of questions they ask when they're looking for employees. What do they want out of somebody when you're going to apply for a job? What skills do you need? And that's just one more of those things we're trying to do to get them ready for real world and make them productive citizens after college. I did leave off, finals will be the 3rd, 4th, and 5th, due to 5th being a makeup day for bad weather. So we just rolled them out, extended them out, moved it one day. We'll release at noon on that Friday, and Thursday night at 6:30 on June 4th in the competition gym will be the 8th grade graduation. And then on Friday night in the competition gym at 7 p.m. we'll graduate the high school seniors. So it's going to get extremely busy here in the next 3 weeks, but this is really the fun time, and it's kind of neat when all the seniors that have wanted to rebel all year all of a sudden start becoming your friend, and they, Mr. Hedges, I'm just not sure about this. I had one yesterday that was doing a little makeup time, and we had a little talk, and he's not really ready to go. And I relayed the story to him, one of his buddies who couldn't wait to get out of school last year and came to me in a softball game this year, and he put his arm around me, gave me a hug, and said, Mr. Hedges, I just want to tell you, you're right. I said, really, about what? He goes, this world's not very nice, and I wish I was back in school. He hits them right in the face when they leave, and we're doing our best to prepare them, and I think we're doing a great job filling out that many applications and having that many accepted to colleges and that many dollars in scholarships. Any questions? Thank you.
One of the things that he had mentioned is that part of the reason for this group's level of success with scholarships and some of the interview things is they created a class that they're doing through our CAPE program, in which they divide up some of the skills and some of the application process and some of those things that are part of what these kids are going to be required to do as they go out into the real world. Mr. Barron takes part in that, and Mrs. Carr takes part of that. We spread, and Ms. Lorenz. And they go through and they work through the process of really what do we need to do to move forward. So I think that's a credit to some of the things that we put in place to try to help them as they move forward. So
we actually take that class and we build resumes, we build a portfolio, we work on interview skills, we fill out scholarship applications, we work with them on how you fill those out properly. We work even down to how to address an envelope. That's not something that are in the teach, but we feel it's important. We work on money. We use the Dave Ramsey curriculum that's approved through TEA, and they learn about financial skills and the difference between paying cash and credit card debt and interest rates, and even as far as buying a house and keeping a checking account. We just want to do everything we can to try to give them a little edge in the real world, because we all know the real world is tough, and there's not a lot of people to ask all the time once you leave high school.
and that was a skill set that was definitely commented on as we brought in this kids with the other panel committees for Owens, that they talked about what an outstanding job they did as they came in to interview. So hats off to them, the kids, and the folks that worked with them.
And also, I'll add that Wednesday when we took the seniors to the career fair, one of the speakers, his main topic was how they're in a generation now where knowledge is at your fingertips, that anything you want to know, you can Google. That's not the way we grew up, but they've got that now, and that one of the skills that you can't Google and you can't just sit and find is how to communicate with people, how to deal with situations that come up in life that that are not comfortable to deal with. And they talked about interviewing skills and communication skills and how that's something that really everyone needs to learn. And as we were getting on the bus, I heard kids in the back talking about, well, we're doing that in Miss Lorenz's class. That's the stuff we're doing in Miss Carr's class. So it was good to hear, because a lot of times kids don't enjoy the stuff that they're doing, and I think after hearing that speaker, they realize that what they are doing in that class is something that they are needing to know. So.
Okay, on the athletic director's report, I guess first off, continued congratulations to our baseball program. We are in the regional quarterfinals. We will play tonight after weather cancellation last night, so we are playing a doubleheader tonight at Centenary College. Start the first game at 5:30. We'll start game 2 30 minutes after that. And tomorrow, tentatively 2 o'clock if needed. We're hoping it's not needed. We'd like to sweep tonight and continue on to the regional semifinals and regional finals, and as far as we go. Exciting group. I know you've been out to watch them last week in the playoff game. Through weather delays, I complimented the kids on Monday that, they didn't let the distractions hurt them. We had a 2-hour lightning delay, on and off field, into the gym, out of the gym, and our kids picked back up and finished a solid baseball game with pressure on of a one-game contest. It was win or go home in the second round. So I compliment our kids on that, and our coaching staff for keeping the kids' composure and focus throughout that contest. And we wish them continued success tonight and on throughout the playoffs. The second part, we did have a state qualifier in our boys track program. CJ Washington senior was up here earlier. We took 12 kids to the regional track meet, which is about average. I mean, a little above average. There's some schools that don't make it to the regional track meet. Now you have area competition after district, so that does thin out the number of participants than it used to be. So we did take 12 boys and girls to the regional track meet. We had one state qualifier, CJ Washington, in triple jump, and he went and competed at state in Austin last week and did very well. It wasn't where we wanted to be, he did not medal, but the kid got to go experience the state track meet to represent Mall ISD as a senior athlete. With that, things I want to highlight, compliment our coaches. If you see our assistant coach, they've done a tremendous job since I've got here. One thing that we knew coming into the situation was we wanted retention, we wanted the same faces. I think we've done a great job of that. We retained 6 of our coaches. So our kids next year, when they come in August, they're not seeing 4, 5, 6 new faces. That a little bit of transition into that. So stability in our athletic program, I think we're getting there, especially with the retention of our coaching staff and those coaches wanting to stay at Mall ISD and coach your kids, our kids, for the future. We did successfully finish our athletic banquet a couple weeks ago, and that recognized a lot of kids, a lot of awards, a lot of success this year for them. The summer workouts will start the Monday after school's out. You look at the break of it, we'll go 3 weeks, take the week of July 4th off, go 3 weeks, take the last week of July off before 2 days. So we will have 6 weeks of summer workouts, and those will be from 8 to 10 a.m. So if you have incoming 7th through 12th graders, they need to be here. If they're in town, we want them here from 8 to 10 in the mornings and get some extra workouts going. Volleyball spring league is wrapping up. Basketball's in spring league, and football, we're hoping we don't start our 7-on-7. We hope we cancel those for a couple weeks. It will start next month in New Boston. So we're hoping that most of our kids are still involved in baseball, so we don't need to go play 7-on-7 at that time. And then the last part of it is, if you talk to our kids, talk to our teachers, we do have our character development started. We do have our incentive workouts going. Kids are buying into it. We send a sheet out every week for every athlete in our program. At any teacher, it's not overly, they don't have to write, it's yes or no. Did this student display good character in your class all week? Yes, no. That's the teacher, that's all they have to do. They were turned into us on Friday, and we try to correct the behavior of our kids with their character on how we want them to act. So that is in full effect, and hopefully next year we'll continue to add some stuff to our character and discipline and what we're doing with our athletes.
Thank you, Coach.
Any questions?
Coach, when does 2 days start?
August 3rd, 7 a.m. We'll be out there, we'll wake everybody up. Volleyball starts the same day across the country. Yes, sir.
Before we move on to the district booster clubs reports, we have a representative from the athletic boosters here today.
Yes, I'm the representative for that.
I'm sorry,
Tremendous job our athletic booster club this year in providing, look at it through an extension of our athletic program. The school budget provides the necessary items for our kids to compete and represent the school. To me, the Bush Club is the organization that they give the nice and extra stuff. So stuff that kids make them feel special about themselves and things that we can provide above and beyond the school budget for our kids. You can look at the income, what events they did this year. I'm not going to read through every one of them. The total income was $23,000. The expenditures for the year was not so. Of that $23,000 they raised this year, $19,500 of it went directly back to our kids in our athletic programs. One thing that this recently did, and I will highlight, they provided $7,000 for our weight room that will put us state-of-the-art equipment for our kids and their competition and what we can do with them in there. Also, they gave $3,000 to help our football supplies, and our kids will be in state-of-the-art helmets to prevent concussions when they walk on the field next year. So, and the track, you can see all the events there. It's through every sport, and they haven't said no to any requests that a coach or need for the kids. So, any questions on the athletic booster club?
One of the things that I do want to mention as far as the Booster Club and the way they've operated when you're talking about the weight room materials, a lot of those funds are generated through the powerlifting meet that we host here in the community, and those funds are put directly back into what the kids are involved with. So we're hopeful that we'll see some very positive things from that powerlifting meet that will go into what each and every one of those kids use on a daily basis. And then echoing the helmet piece of it, we had the opportunity to upgrade some of the helmets that we had. All of our helmets are on a cycle of being licensed and certified each and every year, and we took the next step to provide something we felt was a better and a safer option for our kids. So the Booster Club was very, very receptive to doing that all the way to our junior high kids. I'd like to thank them for that.
We have a representative from our band boosters here today.
Ms. Hawkins, are you going to present that one?
I didn't know it was.
Oh, okay.
They had a starting balance of $2,445. They raised $4,684 from the Fall Festival. They had a summary of the items that they spent. They had some meals before games, Fall Festival, concession stand, band banquet, Christmas concert, and 4 scholarships totaling $4,549, leaving a balance of $2,581.
Thank you. Dan Hag.
Good morning.
Last but not least.
Leon Jennings, I'm the treasurer of the Ag Booster Club. We have an account balance of approximately $8,700. This past year, our Booster Club, we work with our ag teachers, they tell us what they need money and where we want to spend it, but we spend about $900 for rooms at the state convention, metal and supplies for the shop, $2,000, concrete for the ag farm, $900, new set of pins for the ag farm, $600. One of the things the Booster Club is really proud of is we do a scholarship every year. Last year we had issued 3 scholarships, $400 each, total $1,200. Miscellaneous hay, shavings, straw at the major shows, $500. Something else that we do, Booster Club provides for all the hamburger stuff for the cook-off, the auction dinner, and the ag banquet. We spend about $1,500 to feed everybody. Our main fundraiser is the ag auction that we have every spring. So donated items that they build in the shop. This year was about a $9,000 auction, so we feel like we can continue on our same pace of what we've been doing. Any questions?
Thank you.
They do a tremendous job of generating funds and putting those things back in there. If you haven't had the opportunity to see the improvements that they've done in the shops and in the ag barn, it's quite an improvement over the last couple of years. We consistently look at ways to, we have, I believe, more animals down there this year than we have in the past, and we continue to look at ways to improve those facilities for the housing of the kids, animals, and their projects. So, and if you haven't seen some of the kids in their welding projects, I'm complimented at almost every event that I go to about the skill level of our kids in the welding program and the things that they're doing, especially with some of the things like aluminum and those things. We've got some folks that really recognize that we do an outstanding job in that program here. So thank you for your work on that.
Any questions for me?
None that we can ask in an open forum.
I appreciate that. I would like to say thank you because as I carry kids and Mr. Rich has carried kids and we've looked at other facilities across the state, we are blessed. We have a really, really good facility, I think, that will match up with some schools at the 5A level and really be as good as any facility I've seen across the state as we have traveled and visited those places. Our equipment that the kids get to work on. I actually had 2 students that toured Tulsa Welding School last Friday. They came back and told me that our equipment was better than what the kids were learning how to weld on at Tulsa Welding School. Our booths were larger, easier to maneuver in, and in their opinions were better. So I was pretty proud because that's the premier place in the United States, and our kids have what they have there, and we're on track. You know, we can send those kids to a place like that. They're not going to be behind, they're going to be ahead. They're going to be able to facilitate that learning a lot quicker. a lot better and go get a job, make a lot of money somewhere. I'm extremely proud of those kids. And that's a thanks to y'all, but for spending the money to get us there.
Appreciate that. All right, agenda item number 10, we'll discuss and review board and trustee standard operating procedures. Pete?
All right, what you have in front of me is a little document that I've combined some things from some other places. I've got some stuff in there as far as policy and operating type things within the process. We have some new folks, we have some folks in some new roles. One of the things that I wanted to point out is it really gives you an overview of how the process works and how we've done business previously. It gives you an idea of some of the things that oftentimes we take for granted that we all know, and it's a good reference point of looking at what some of the pieces of the Open Meeting Act, some of the things that fit into different parts of the meetings. How we create an agenda, how we create consent items, what is part of executive session, what you can use each parts of those meetings for, how we operate within our meetings. And again, some of these are rather brief, and there's policies that relate to them if there's any questions. I tried not to make it such an overwhelming document that it would become cumbersome, but it is. It does give you the differences between a meeting and a hearing. It gives you some of the pieces as we move forward. It gives you information about what's allowable during the meeting, what's not. It gives you avenues to, as a board member, how you're able to receive information and how that needs to be passed on. It gives you the process of the communication from my office to all of you as far as items and things as they go on and how we try to operate between the two groups. It gives you the evaluation process of myself. It talks about the evaluation of the board and how we review that process through our goals and objectives and how we're working through those things. And it gives officer and board members' roles. It gives media information for board members and the process of making comments and those sorts of things. And then it talks about that as we look at these, if there's things that have been omitted or there's things that need to be added, we'll review these annually. So I hope you'll take a moment and review those. There's nothing in there that I think that you'll find that will be anything that we don't normally do. It's just some of it's in the written context that we haven't had before, and I thought with new folks and new positions being held that this would be a good time to have a reference form to kind of refer to some of those. So I won't slow the meeting down with it, but please take a look at it, and if you've got any questions, please give a call and we'll go over those. And if there's something that we don't understand, then we'll certainly review it.
Next is item number 11, consider and approve low attendance waiver days and instruction. Okay,
the state of Texas provides us the opportunity that if we drop 10% below the previous year's average of attendance due to a number of different circumstances, that we have the ability to apply for a waiver where we are not penalized for that low attendance. One of the pieces to the waiver is that it must be approved during a board meeting. On February 5th and 6th is when we had the flu come to our campus, and we had a tremendous drop in attendance, primarily in the K-2 building, where we had kids that got sick at a rapid rate. It was about a 3-day illness. But if you look within the notes, February 5th and 6th, we met the criteria, and I would like you to consider approving our waiver for those days, so we are not penalized for the attendance that fell well below what we normally have. And I think what you'll see is once that attendance put back in, we've been playing catch up with our attendance all year long because it was so drastically different. So it's really just a process.
Any questions or discussion on the waiver? Open the floor.
I don't have any questions, but if no one else has any questions, we approve the two waivers.
Have a motion?
I'll second.
In a second. All in favor, right hand. Passes unanimously. Next item is number 12, consider for approval, local policy revised DCT.
That's one of the policies that we've looked at previously, TASB and TASB Update 100, I believe. We had a situation that was different than what TASB had put in their model of those for the local policy. We had several positions that had previously been on Chapter 21 type contracts. One of the things that we discussed was that with those folks that are currently under those contracts, as those folks were no longer with the district, that we would go with TASB's recommendation moving forward. We've had a retirement. One of the positions was PEAMS coordinator, and I would like to have the ability to remove that piece of the policy for a term contract. So essentially, we approved a contract, or we approved a local policy that had those positions within it. We had a retirement after the fact. At this point, I'd like to remove that PEAMS coordinator and make that a standard at-will position.
Any discussion, questions? Open the floor for a motion.
I'll make a motion we approve the revised policy DCB.
We have a second? Second. We have a motion and a second, all approved, right hand. In favor. Opposed, like sign. Passes unanimously. 13, superintendent report.
Okay, again, we talked about a number of different things that we've got going on. Employee work appreciation dinner. We've got banquets that are listed below there that are still, we've had a number of banquets previously. We've all eaten probably more brisket in the last several weeks than we have in the last 6 months. But anyway, there's some dates and some activities that are listed there. Graduations, middle school and high school are listed there. In your packet, you get the vantage point for policy update 102. I'll be honest with you, this is the normal look that you get a month ahead of time. I would tell you to look at it and kind of glance over it, but I would also tell you that there's going to be an enormous amount of changes in the next month. So I wouldn't spend a whole lot of time getting to know all these policies, because they're very likely to have some changes within them as we finish up in Austin at the end of this month. So that's included within there. I wanted to update on a property consideration that we had. I do not believe that property is currently for sale, so therefore I believe that there is no sense in moving forward. It's gone back and forth, and the discussion was finally that I don't believe the property is still for sale. I've asked them if anything changes moving forward, please contact us again. Otherwise, thank you for your time. And then the last one we looked at is I've had a request for a possible date change for the June board meeting due to some previous engagement. We certainly have the ability to do that. If you would look at your calendars, the board meeting is scheduled for June 18th, which is the third Thursday like we normally do. And what I would like you to do is if you would please you don't have to give me an answer right now, but if you'll look at your summertime plans and see if that's a possibility, I would certainly like to accommodate if possible. And
What do you want to do?
what we were thinking about is maybe the next week, and it could be Monday, Tuesday. There's some flexibility to it.
Still in the evening?
Yeah, still in the evenings. But next week, the June meeting will be probably one of the longer meetings, and we'll probably have some additional meetings moving forward in June, because we have the ability for some training options for board members. We're going to have some budgetary stuff that we'll begin looking at and kind of finalizing, and see if we can get together. We'll see where we need those meetings accordingly. So as close to that next meeting as we can. So So if y'all will take a look at your calendars, see if Monday or Tuesday of that next week would be a problem possibly.
I don't know what you're going.
When is that DC trip?
They're gone.
That's what I'm talking. Yeah, I'm going for the 21st. I mean, that's the 25th, late evening. That week's bad.
Could we look at something like the 26th possibly?
Sure.
Okay. Well, anyway, everybody take a look at what may be in the realm of possibility, and then we'll see what we can do to accommodate.
This is on Friday.
Yes.
So, anyway, also I wanted to give you some tentative dates, and Mr. Parker, that has done some of our previous trainings, has thrown out a couple dates and would like to see if any of these would work moving forward for some of our trainings that we've got in place previously. He gave the dates of June 23rd, 24th, June 29th, July 1st, and July 2nd. And let me repeat those one more time. He said if the dates of June 23rd, 24th, June 29th, July 1st, and July 2nd, he has currently open and would be willing to come up and start some of our training hours if that's something we would still like to do.
How many days do we need?
We previously have done 3 to meet our hours. We can extend, those don't all have to be within the summertime, obviously, but, you know, we do have to get that legislative update. I thought that would be a great first meeting and go through some of those new things. But again, I know summertime fills up quick. He's got some trips planned, and he's doing some training, and he's got some TEA obligations for some things as well. He said if any of those will work moving forward, he will pencil us in. And if there's any dates after that, I can certainly request those. We can spread them out one a month. We can spread them out one every other month. Those are, you know, we're just kind of working around 2 sets of calendars. So see if any of those dates work, and we'll go from there. Y'all contact me individually or contact Mr. Pierce and funnel that to him. That would help too. So anyway, all right, that's all I have.
We'll be moving into the executive session. We'll take a 5-minute break.